Good morning and welcome, citizens of Douglas County. The February 2nd, 2026 work session of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners will come to order. County Clerk, could you please take the roll for the record, please?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner District 1, Henry Mitchell.
Present.
Commissioner District 2, Whitney Kenner Jones.
Present.
Commissioner District 3, Martin Raxton.
Present.
Commissioner District 4, Vice Chair Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
Chairman Dr. Ramona Jackson Jones.
Present. Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signing for public comment this morning?
Yes, ma'am. We had several individuals. Before I call you up, I will just remind you, you'll have 3 minutes to address the board. Once you reach your 3 minutes, we'll ask you to wrap up your comments. And when you reach the mic, please restate your name, address, and subject matter. Our first speaker is Joseph Hamilton.
My name is Joseph Hamilton. I live at 4976 Westlake Way in Douglasville. I'm the CFO of the Douglas County Museum of History and Art. Well, thank you for this opportunity. And having seen the Kennesaw Museum report after 2 years delay, excuse me, I have to see. A review of that document inspires a contemporary look at its recommendations. With the exception of those requiring major funding, many, if not most, of the observations and recommendations have already been or already were implemented. Logic would seem to demand that those charged with evaluating the museum in its present-day operations would consult with museum staff and take an in-person look on site. That hasn't happened. So, this talk will be a brief tour of 2 exhibit rooms in an effort to cover a bit of that oversight. As you enter the History Gallery, the old Superior Courtroom, you take an immediate left and see rows of military uniforms representing Douglas County service members from every war from World War I to the present. The first one you see is a World War I uniform, and its story is remarkable. Above the uniform is a French flag with the U.S. flag in the corner. This is to honor the 92nd Infantry, an all-African-American regiment and the first American troops sent to France as the only unit ready when we joined the war. Typically in the U.S. Army, that unit would have been laborers, not combat troops. But the French were in great need of frontline reinforcements. They were sent into combat for the duration and served with great courage and distinction throughout the remainder of the war, so that the French commanding general of that line awarded the entire unit La Croix de Guerre, the highest French award for valor in combat. You can see it in one of our photos of soldiers wearing it at the war's end. Why is this in the Douglas County Museum? 9 of those men were from Douglas County. We have their stories for you to review. One of those 9 died in combat. Private Will Sparks was killed in France and is a direct ancestor of Douglasville's police chief, Gary Sparks. As you walk through the uniform exhibit, you come to a dress. A dress? Joe Fowler's parents, Alpha Fowler and Susie Hudson, attended UGA in the 30s. But they only met when they both answered the call to service in World War II, with Alpha as a B-17 pilot and Susie as a captain in the Army Nurse Corps. When Alpha was hospitalized in Capri at the end of the war with an illness, his nurse was Susie. They quickly decided to marry in Italy. Needing a wedding dress, a local seamstress took an old German silk parachute and created the most beautiful gown for Susie to wear in her wedding in 1945, and you can see it in the museum. Continuing on, you come to a beautiful large spinning wheel. We know it was created by Seaborn Prey because he carved his name and date on the underside of the item in November 1846. Sebring was an enslaved man on Ephraim Place property and a highly respected artisan throughout the community. A large number of amazing stories are remembered in that room, but let's go down the hall and look at the That's Entertainment exhibition with 30 prominent artists, including Oscar winner Walt Goggins, rapper Lil Nas, Emmy winner Luann Dimps, Motown superstar, gold record winner Susan Hutchinson, and country music best new artist 24, Megan Maroney.
Mr. Hamilton.
And then we tell the story of the building when people walk through the door, the whole story.
Mr. Hamilton.
I'm finishing right now, the last
Okay,
paragraph.
wrap it up. Okay, come
All
on.
right, this casual mental walk through the museum is a small taste of the treasures past and present. Come back and see us. You might be surprised at what we're doing. Many great scheduled events, coupled with dynamic leadership by our new and expanded board, are taking to a higher level. Thank you for joining me on this tour. Y'all come back now, you hear?
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Hamilton. All right, Madam Clerk, who do
Our
we
next
have
speaker is Jim Popham.
Hello.
Hello.
Can y'all hear me? My name is, hold on. My name is Jim Popham, 8599 Estelle Street, Douglasville. We moved to Douglasville in 1971 when I was in the 9th grade. That was while Douglas County was still the only high school in the county. And I've constantly had property in Douglas County since the late 70s. So hold on a second. Our family has donated a lot of artifacts, not a lot, but we've dedicated artifacts to the museum. Same as 400 other, over 400 other families in the county. And I contacted Suzanne back when I heard that they were going to be closing, or the lease was in danger. And I started really just wanting to lend support, and I've messed around and gotten involved in the museum. And when they elected new officers 3 weeks ago, I'm now the treasurer and hope to help carry the museum in a different direction a little bit while we still preserve what we've got there. And so we were on the steering committee. I got on it first, and then we were trying to show that we were trying to make a difference, and we got some of the opposition to kind of join the steering committee to help direct where we were headed. And I think they were sabotaged. It was not carried in the right direction and didn't display the intentions that we hope to provide. I think y'all probably see that presentation a little later, and I'm not sure why it was done. I've heard from several sources that the Democratic Party is pressuring to keep from keeping the museum as it is open where it's located. I've been a lifelong Democrat, voting constantly. I'm very disappointed with this, and I hope that that's investigated further at the state level. I'm very disappointed with that, and I've already been in touch with people. But I went and I wanted to read what Phil Miller had written on Facebook. I called Phil. I thought it was summed up a lot of what a lot of people felt. And I wanted to read what he put on Facebook. He says, "I don't believe I have been more disgusted with what is about to happen to the Douglas County Museum. One of the most asinine things from that study said that the museum did not conform to present-day demographics. It's not supposed to. The museum is about history, not present day. When the coroner needed a building, they didn't take the old courthouse. They built a new $2 million building. It would have been more than $6 million had I not been there. If some other department needs space, they don't take the courthouse. Take the $4+ million we saved from the coroner's building. The government will continue to grow along with revenue. Please don't take our history from us. We could have left like so many others. Many of us choose to stay and
Mr.
welcome
Popham.
people. all over the country, but don't take our heritage away from us. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
so much, Mr. Poplar. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Susan Bowie.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Susan Bowie. I live at 2935 Flowers Drive in Douglasville, Georgia. I've been here 30-some years. I'm just going to read to you because it's a whole lot better than if I wing it. I've attended every meeting and witnessed the museum's presentation. It was a grand display, followed by the harsh reality conveyed by their own steering committee. This museum has failed and will continue to fail. The issue is not whether the museum should exist, but rather that it can no longer continue in its current location. They are free to pursue operations somewhere else at their own expense. The county needs the space, and if any of us operated a nonprofit the way they have, we would have been cut off a long time ago. In their last meeting, they confessed to having no means to raise funds. They initiated a GoFundMe campaign in December with a goal of raising $7,500. I checked it this morning. As of this morning, they've raised $4,435. They can't even raise $5,000 since December. How are they going to stay in business? Okay? How will they sustain their operation? Is it going to be at our expense continuously? The museum has not engaged in any tourism product development, which is why the DCTT discontinued their funding 5 years ago. Funding is not granted merely for existing. It requires actionable plans and demonstrable results, which the museum has consistently failed to provide. They did not comply with audit requirements or maintain proper receipts, violating the law. Additionally, it's concerning that they have not had a functioning board for several years, only establishing one last month. The reporting provided to DCTT and the county has consistently been inadequate, lacking the evidence and efforts to promote tourism in downtown Douglasville, especially while lead staff gets a salary of $40,000 a year. Even after receiving $75,000 from Phil Miller in 2024, the museum has made no tangible improvements or enhancements. Why was a letter to the citizens of Douglas County from First Lady Michelle Obama hidden away in a closet? Why? I have an idea. But in conclusion, I just want to share an experience that I had after the last meeting, and I'm not going to read, I'm just going to wing this. So I'm walking out, and one of the folks from the museum in their museum, say the museum pink shirts, comes up to me, and he starts telling me all about the Indian artifacts that he's digging up on his property. And I get that a lot, and I just try to walk away. But he keeps talking, he keeps talking. And finally he says to me, well, I'm going to tell you, if you guys kick us out, we're going to leave all 8,000 articles in there for you to clean up, because we got no way to move them. They're not insured. They're not planning on moving them. They're going to let you clean up their mess. At least that's what he told me, and there were witnesses there. And then he went on to say, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do with that Confederate statue. All right, at this part, I told him I would drag it to the dump by myself behind my car if I had to, because I was angry. So I just want you to know, this is their valuable collection. They're going to leave it for us to clean up. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Bowie. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Sandra Washington.
Good morning, Ms. Washington.
Good morning, Commissioner. How are you doing this morning?
Well,
Here we are again.
yeah.
Let's see if I got this right. I feel like we're here for entitlement. This continues to be a story of entitlement. We have a group of people who have saved a building from becoming a parking lot, which the downtown area could have used, or a new building for the county, which they clearly could have used. Yay. And they feel entitled to use it for free to them for the foreseeable future. And it's not fair to the taxpayers of this county. It's not fair to continue funding this hobby. I want to give, their idea of creating a future is a GoFundMe, and not a very successful GoFundMe at that. A shout out to the CAC who's gone after grants to have a dynamic future. And I think that's something that the museum, had it been ably managed in the past, would have sought to create. But I appreciate the passion of these people who want to preserve their mostly personal family histories in this publicly owned space, and yet are still unwilling to find, that are unwilling to find a permanent home at their own expense. When asked, what if you have to pay rent? It's like, we don't have any money. And it's like, well, we want the hotel motel tax, and we want what we had before. And yet that's public tax. Like, this is not real tax. Taxpayers aren't doing this. This is outside tax. Well, but this is still, it's the money of the county. It's the taxpayers' money. Their ideas are of memberships and paid admissions. And it's like, where were these memberships and paid admissions before? And they have numbers that they were projecting about how they were going to be self-supporting, and no data to back it up. And where was this foot traffic before? So, in fact, where are the logs of all the people that attended? Where are the receipts? Where are the records, and how do they account for taking care of the collection they have? And I'm afraid I was a witness to where, when it was said, well, if we are kicked out, we're just going to leave it for the county to clean up. So it's an entitlement. We're entitled to that space, but we're going to show you, if you kick us out, we're going to make you clean it up and just cause another expense on the taxpayers. This is a hobby. This is not something that is run as a professional museum, and I'm all for a museum. I mean, this is a dynamic county with a dynamic history, and it deserves a museum, but it deserves a well-run museum and not in a government-owned building. Because as Phil Miller said, he's not in the business of running a museum. So it's time. They need to find their own space and pay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, Lex Lewis. Not here. Okay, Kenya Mitchell.
Thank you. All right, good morning. We are here again. Today is February 2nd, 2026. It's been a year since Malachi Mitchell.
Could you state your name and address, please?
My name is Kenya Mitchell. I'm a resident of Douglas Corruption County. And I am here in regards to, again, Malachi Mitchell.
We need your address, please.
Who was murdered. Douglasville.
Could I have
I'm
your
a resident
address?
of Douglasville, Georgia.
I need to know your address, ma'am, for the record. Did you have her address?
I just have Douglasville.
Thank you. Resident of Douglasville, Georgia. Been a resident for quite some time.
Yes, ma'am.
I am here for the murder of Malachi Mitchell that was murdered on January 29th. I'm so glad that Tavarius Pounds was able to join us today. Welcome, Tavarius Pounds. And I'm thank you for being in here this morning. Maybe you can translate some of the information back to 10 pounds. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that statement that you made on February 6th, I hope that will hold up in a courtroom. And I hope every time you get your haircut is real nice. I hope every time you get your haircut, I hope when you get back to the right side, I hope you always remember that when you made that statement, Malachi Mitchell was shot 4 times right on the right side from the back of his head, okay? And also, I filed a writ mandamus. A writ mandamus is something that my family is entitled to. I have yet to hear from anyone about that writ mandamus. This is supposed to be a prompt, responsive action for us Douglas County residents. So I stand with the people today for the museum, because guess what? Douglas County will never, ever reveal truth. You understand me? Won't ever reveal truth. So all of y'all in here for the museum, good luck, because they will forever, forever bury the truth. And yeah, they did give a couple million to the coroner's office and built her a new coroner just for y'all to keep lying, just for y'all to keep burying facts. You understand? But I'm not going nowhere. I got ears in California, I got ears in New York, I got ears in Florida. Y'all will be exposed. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you will be exposed with the truth, especially about Malachi Mitchell. And one of the things that's granted a coroner's inquest that y'all denied, and you could take this back to various pounds. You could take this too.
DALIA-RACINE, and I have the pleasure of serving as a district attorney here in Douglas County. This case update will be in regard to the incident with Malachi Mitchell. On January 25th,
The date is wrong.
2025, a vehicle was stopped in Douglas County near the Lithia Springs Home Depot by Douglas County Sheriff's Department. When the deputies went to approach this vehicle, the driver started yelling. They tried to set me up. I defended my life. He tried to kill me. They observed a deceased individual in the passenger seat with multiple gunshot wounds to the back of his head.
You've done the best investigation that could have been done. That's your son. You're supposed to love your son. If he got murdered, we're supposed to put him in jail. But I was finding didn't find murder. Simple as that.
4 shots to the back of the head.
I don't know where you got that from. I don't know where you got that from, but that ain't so. That ain't so.
He didn't get shot 4 times in the back of the head?
The investigation didn't show it. DA's office didn't show it. Now who you got showed it?
Ms. Mitchell.
That's what she said.
Who is she?
The DA.
The DA ain't said that she did. She lied. I
The
tell her to
buzzer
her
just
face.
went off.
Oh, 10 Pounds said he would tell the DA to her face that she was lying about my son being shot 4 times in the back of the head. But as you all know, I brought the autopsy report last time, and I'm going to bring it again. And I'm going to keep bringing more and more and more and more and more until it's exposed. So, Tavarius Pounds, I hope you go run and tell that. Thank you all so much for your time. Mr. Mark, I never heard from your office. Mr. Raxton, okay, you gave me some numbers, but you really need to be holding Douglas County accountable for what they doing, because it ain't nothing but some corruption and some cover-up and some lies. Come tell the truth about what's really going on.
Ms.
That's what y'all need to do. Y'all didn't do no investigation, all these botched investigations for all the citizens in Douglas
Ms.
County.
Mitchell.
I ain't the first family.
Ms.
How would y'all
Mitchell.
like it if it was y'all
Ms.
family? But I ain't
Mitchell.
gonna stop. Thank you so much, what's your name? Miss Jackson.
Ms. Mitchell,
Thank you.
your time is up. Thank you.
I told you last time, it's just getting started.
Okay, well, I appreciate you. We'll see you when you come back in. Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. You too, Ms. Mitchell.
Our next speaker,
Who do we have
Laurie
next?
Rowell.
Laurie Ralph, 5475 Creek Indian Trail, Douglasville, Georgia. I can't believe we're here again. What are y'all doing? You're not giving anybody time. First of all, it's amazing all the facts that were wrong. And you ain't the only Indian in town. I'm a Choctaw, a card-carrying member of the Choctaw Nation, and I'm happy for you. It's ridiculous. It is actually
Point of
ridiculous.
order. Yeah.
I do not understand why, when I looked at the picture of the people on that committee, y'all added, they were all people who wanted it closed. They've even spoken here that they wanted the museum closed. Why would you put them on a committee when the committee was working and going to work on how we can fund the museum without tax dollars and what we needed to do to make a proposal and a plan? So is the committee still going, or it was a one-shot deal? Y'all do not let the citizens of this county know what you're doing. You're trying to pull one over. You're so sneaky. I mean, when I heard that we're here again today and heard what the lady on the committee said, and that the people on the committee and why didn't Mark or Ramona, why weren't they on the committee? They're the only two who want the museum. You put one of y'all on there that, I think Mr. Mitchell, I don't know. But I'm so disappointed in this group. I have been here every single time, and you are refusing, basically, to let us get together and come up with plans for the museum. And I really do not understand why you want them to find another building. There's nothing wrong with the museum staying there. And you still have not told us why you want the building. Nobody here has told us why you want that building and what you're going to do with it. And what's really bad is we can't believe anything you say. I'm to that point now. I can't believe anything any of you say. It's really a disgrace.
Who do we have next, Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am. Our next speaker is Shirley Akers.
Hello,
Hello, Ms. Akers. Good morning.
Shirley Akers, 8699 East Union Hill Road, and that's in Winston. And of course, I'm here again to speak about the museum. I won't be redundant and repeat what I've already said and what everybody else has already said. But it does seem odd to me that money can be found for the Cultural Arts Center building. Now, I've seen different amounts for that. I've seen somewhere between $30 and $60 million. Yesterday, I decided I will Google and just see what they're saying, and it shows about $60 million for that building. But the old Courthouse Museum can't get the money they were rightfully entitled to, the hotel and motel tax. So where did that money go? Whose pocket did that go into? And I also read where the Cultural Arts Center has said that we could use some of the artifacts in their new building. So what happens to the rest of the artifacts? That's what I'd like to know. If the Board of Elections needs more space, if other buildings need more space, build them a new building, like the coroner's new building. There was money for that. Again, I implore you for the sake of your constituents, that we do not want to see the history destroyed. So please just vote no. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Akers. Who do we have next?
Okay, our next speaker, Chris Ussery Arnold.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Arnold.
That work. Okay. I'm Christine Ussery Arnold, and I am the new president of the Museum of History
Ms.
and Art.
Arnold, if you could give us your, do you need the address?
Oh, I'm sorry, I
I'm
forgot.
just trying to make sure.
Chris
You're
Ussery
good.
Arnold, 14061 Veterans Memorial Highway.
Okay.
My family's been in Douglas County for 95 years. I have 37 years of management and fundraising and development of nonprofits. I'm here to present information regarding changes underway at the museum. Many of these changes have come about because of the Department of Museum Study done at KSU in 2023 and ideas from the board and steering committee. Changes in management. Joe Phillips resigned from being president of the museum board. He was here, so. Steering committee of citizens started to address issues. At the December meeting, 5 new members were voted to the board of directors, which makes a total board of 11. Suzanne Hudson resigned from the museum board in December. January, Suzanne has asked to step down from the executive director position of the museum, so she will not be in management anymore. We are actively searching for a professional executive director of the museum as well as 2 additional staff members, but that's become difficult to do since we are in such a state of flux, not knowing where we're going to be. We began updating websites and expanding social media presence to YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Our Facebook hits alone have increased from 3,964 in September to 40,000 plus in January. We are producing recorded videos of historic items and personal stories from the museum to preserve history and share them through social media. We currently have 5 online and 9 more in the works. The website is being reorganized to improve maneuverability. The museum has signed up to use Pacer AI to create stronger data for impact of the museum on the economy of the county and the city. Working with information from the Atlanta Regional Commission and museum-related boards to do analysis of the activity in the museum. Georgia tourism generates approximately $60 billion annually. Georgia has roughly 100 museums statewide. Museums act as destination anchors and encouraging overnight staying, dining, retail, and repeat visitation. Annual visitation at our museum last year was 5,580 visitors. 35% of those are out-of-county visitors, and 65 are in-county visitors. Day visitors spend approximately $55 upon a visit. And when you calculate what the financial impact is, an indirect and induced economic impact, it is $944,000. The Douglas County Museum and Art conservatively generate, sorry about that. Anyway, let me jump to the end. The museum appreciates continued support of Commissioners Ramona Jackson Jones and Mark Alvarez. I hope that the other commissioners will see the benefit to leaving the museum where it is, regardless of the vote tomorrow. The museum will be putting on an after-hours event from 9 to 8 on Saturday to honor the Homeward Bound art exhibit, honoring the legacy of Donald Wayne Holman, also featuring art of Susan Easton Burns and PK. Please come.
Thank you so much, Ms. Arnold.
Our next speaker, Frank Wynn.
Frank Wynn, 8925 Orchard Drive, Douglasville, Georgia. I think you all know my position on the museum. I'm not part of the museum organization, but I believe in what they've done. I've been a part of a lot of other volunteer organizations in this county, the number one of which is a family charity that has donated over $300,000 to this community, including money to the museum, including money that when they got reorganized, we were gonna help them some more. I want you to know, I'm not up here just speaking. I've put my money where my mouth is. This museum is important, and we can debate here whether they've done perfect work, whether they've done good work, whether they've done bad work. The problem with doing it in this forum is you're not giving it a fair chance. I thought that's what happened back in December, is you were going to give them a fair chance to show that they can reorganize. You have a study that has a lot of recommendations. A lot of them say that the museum could have been handled differently. But you're not going to give them you're going to use the study to abolish it, and you're not giving them a fair chance. I've always believed in fairness in how you do a process. This is not a fair process without giving the museum a chance and giving the people that work there a chance. The two leading people that work there resigned, trying to show you that if it's a personality issue, we will leave. The courthouse is not a feasible place to put anything else. They saved the county a lot of money by putting the museum in there. Tearing it down to make a parking lot was more expensive than bringing in a bulldozer. There's asbestos in the building, and you're not going to be able to tear it down without a huge expense. You're not going to be able to rebuild it or remodel it without a huge expense. I've asked for information regarding what kind of plans are out there, and I'm assuming there's nothing out there. So there must be something more to this process than just trying to look at the importance of a museum and figure out what's the fairest way of dealing with it. It's the stupidest thing I've heard to say that people are just going to leave these artifacts in there and make you clean it up. That's about the stupidest argument that you can have in this kind of forum. I've got artifacts from my family. We've been here over 100 years. I'm not going to leave them there. But you have people that live out in Washington, the state of Washington, who have artifacts there. You have Elena Myers, who's over in Italy. Is she going to come over here and come back from the Olympics to get any of her artifacts back? she's going to probably try to have some family and interrupt what she's doing, trying to represent Douglas County. She's got stuff there. The process needs to allow time to study what you're really going to do, what is really feasible, if it's better than the museum. I think you'll find at the end that it's not better than having that museum there and the way it's being operated. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. All right. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker, Amy McCoy.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. I return again to the need of Douglas County to establish a Chief Housing Officer position. I raised this issue in previous meetings. Oh, I apologize. Amy McCoy, 9938 Ashtonville, here in Douglasville.
Thank you.
I've raised this issue in numerous meetings previously because the pressure facing our residents have not eased and they have intensified. Last week, I submitted an informational item that outlined a framework that could save this county nearly $2.4 million, strengthening HR and procurement safeguards, and help us identify any red flags with bad actors before they create long-term financial and legal exposure. That proposal was not about expansion, as it is about smart coordination, accountability, and prevention. As I reviewed today's agenda, I noticed significant allocations to the economic development initiatives, including $500,000 to Elevate Douglas for a business incubator. This is an equivalent allocation to the University of West Georgia for a similar purpose just 2 years prior. I want to be clear. I support business development. However, I must also note that I requested $200,000 for the Greenhouse Entrepreneurship and Wellness Center, an initiative designed to directly support small business here in Douglas County for workers, families, and community level, and received no county funding at all. This is not about one organization versus another. It's about balance, structure, and prioritization. At present, the average resident in Douglas County is absorbing the cost of growth through rising housing instability, escalating property taxes, enforcement inconsistencies, and erosion of homeownership security. While lacking a single centralized office responsible for coordinating housing policy, resident protections, and cross-departmental accountability. A chief housing officer would not duplicate existing work. It would align it. It would connect planning, code enforcement, economic development, HR procurement, and legal oversight with the lived realities of our residents. It would ensure that housing policy is proactive rather than reactive. And most importantly, it would place people, not just projects, at the center of our decision-making. If we can invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in elevating business initiatives, then we must also be willing to invest the tools and leadership structures that protect the people who keep this county running and who are struggling to retain their homes. I respectfully ask the commissioners to formally consider a creation of a chief housing officer and treat housing stability as the foundational infrastructure that is needed and not an afterthought. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Our next
Ms.
speaker.
McCoy, thank you.
Sorry. Our next speaker, Tony Montcalm.
Tony Montcalm, 6790 John West Road in Winston. Madam Chair, Commissioners, thank you for the privilege. I'm a man who has spent his life in words, and words have meaning and they matter. Truth should rise above falsehood as oil upon water. Let's get down to the semantics. This is not a museum. This is a private collection owned by an incorporated nonprofit that has been warehoused on county property at county expense for nearly 30 years. It's not that we're debating the value of the exhibit or the value that it brings to the county. What we're debating simply is whether or not we need to use county resources for county purposes. It is county property that is needed for county business, period. That's it. It's not about destroying heritage. It's not about closing a museum. This organization has known that they have been under increased scrutiny for months. They were told that they were given a month-to-month basis to make meaningful improvement. I was there when they presented to the County Services Committee. They were asked who's on their board. They could not provide that. How many members are on their board? They didn't know. They discussed among themselves maybe about 11. Who are your officers? Well, we have none. What are your plans for fundraising? What are your plans to make this sustainable? And then they asked, is the collection insured? No, we couldn't possibly insure it. The artifacts are invaluable. If they were sincerely concerned about preserving these artifacts, they would most certainly have insured their exhibit. They continue to profess that they take no county money, yet the county has provided them the square footage, the county has provided their utilities, and the county has provided the cleaning services that maintain the museum. The facts are simple. We need it. We need it back. We need the square footage for county services. That's it. That's the bottom line. They have been insincere in wanting to maintain their place. And were they to want to continue the museum, they are welcome to. Their organization can set up shop wherever they please. It just doesn't have to be on county property at county expense. That's all we're saying. It's not about the value of the museum. It's not about erasing heritage or history or anything like that. It's simply being pragmatic about what we need and what we have and the proper utilization of our resources. That's it. That's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Montcalm. Madam Clerk?
Yes, our last speaker is Colt Hamrick.
Good morning, Commissioners. Colt Hamrick, 3643 Johnston Road.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. We can.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I am the newest and most eager member of the Board of Directors for the Douglas County Museum of History and Art. And I'm here today to speak for the record. And since we're talking about record, let's just go on record and say that there's been over $17,000 raised for the museum, not just through the GoFundMe. My speech also today has been freshly prepared. It's not the same argument that I make on Facebook countless times again and again. Because what happens in this room like this becomes part of the public story of how a community governs, how it treats long-standing partners, and how it values its own history. This isn't simply the ending of a lease. This is the county ending an over 20-year partnership with an institution that preserved Douglas County's history, educated students, supported tourism, safeguarded historical materials, and operated largely on volunteer labor, donor support, and public trust. For over 2 decades, volunteers did the work. Families entrusted heirlooms. Educators brought children. The museum carried the responsibility of telling this county story. And now the message being sent is that this institution, built through civic effort, is easier to remove than to work with. That is authority. But authority is not the same as leadership. Leadership means working through challenges with partners, not discarding partnerships when they become complicated. Leadership means transparency when public institutions are affected. Leadership means recognizing when something is more than square footage. People are watching. Volunteers, donors, other nonprofits, and future partners are watching and asking what partnership with this county truly means. Stewardship. This involves thousands of historical items and donated objects tied directly to the story of this county. Many were given in good faith to be preserved and accessible to the public. When partnerships like this end abruptly, the risk is real. Disruption, displacement, damage, loss of context, and the erosion of donor trust that took decades to build. History, once mishandled, does not regenerate. Trust, once broken, does not automatically return. History does not expire when demographics change. Heritage belongs to everyone who lives here now and everyone who will live here next. If growth and inclusion are the goal, the solution is collaboration, not removal. Because of the consequences of the decision that have been made in this room and reaching far beyond, we have formally requested a review of the circumstances surrounding the termination of this long-standing partnership by seeking communication with Governor Brian Kemp the Georgia Attorney General, and the GBI. That is not theater, that is accountability. This moment will be remembered for what it represents. The museum preserved Douglas County's history. Today, this board added its own chapter, and the public will decide how it reads. Madam Chair, Commissioner Alcarez, we appreciate your support.
Madam Clerk, thank you so much. Madam Clerk, we have any?
There are no more
Oh,
speakers.
that's it. All right. Board of Commissioners, at this time, we're going to move right into our agenda. The agenda adoption, do we need, have you had an opportunity to review the agenda? And if so, do we have a motion to approve the agenda? Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. For the approval, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to approve the agenda. All right, Board of Commissioners, we have 3 minutes to make our remarks this morning and 2 minutes for rebuttal, and certainly we'll ask that we stay within those constraints and just so we can move our meeting right along. Approval of the minutes, Board of Commissioners, tomorrow. We will approve or deny accordingly. Our minute meetings, please review those for tomorrow and be prepared as I call the motion on those tomorrow. All right, we have a proclamation tomorrow proclaiming February 3rd, 2026 as Georgia Day in Douglas County. And with that being said, we'll move on, and Clerk, I'll yield the floor back to you for our next items.
Okay. We have a presentation this morning from our Community Services Committee, and Dr. Consuela Gilchrist is here to present.
Good morning, Dr. Gilchrist.
If I would.
You have the floor, Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes, I would just like to take the lead in this particular presentation because we moved the presentation to my committee for the mere facts of just having an opportunity so we can hear out the museum, the possibilities, and what differences that could be either corrected, made better, or what it would take and what it would be for this particular community. So I hope we take away from all of this, not that it was a win or a loss, and it's not. This is, oh, I'm sorry. This is the committee and my challenge, along with my vice chair, Commissioner Kenner Jones, duties and responsibilities to not that we are against or getting rid of or trying to do anything as such when it comes to the museum. It was about the community and what we offer as a community from Douglas County and what that could be and what it may or may not be. So I just don't want us to take away from this presentation that there was a win or there was a loss. That is not the case. It's what's best for Douglas County from the eyes of this particular committee and the recommendation as such. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Dr. Gilchrist. She'll do the recommendation, and then I'll comment after that, along with the vice chair, and then we'll go from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, and county administration. I stand before you today on behalf of the Community Services Committee to present the committee's recommendation regarding the lease agreement for Old Courthouse, Inc. In November of 2025, the Old Courthouse, Inc. lease matter was referred to the Community Services Committee to investigate, determine, and recommend the best path forward regarding the relationship between the county and Old Courthouse, Inc. On January 8, 2026, Old Courthouse, Inc. board members and steering committee members outlined their funding/partnership request to the Community Services Committee. Concurrently, the Cultural Arts Council Executive Director, board members, and CPA presented their plan for a cultural history experience. Old Courthouse, Inc. partnership request included 3 asks. Ask number 1 was for the county to restore hotel motel tax funding for operations, for the county to support SPLOSH funding for preservation, and for the county to affirm the museum as a core county asset. The Cultural Arts Council Cultural History Experience included 2 options, Option A and Option B. Option A included curate professional storyboards and select artifacts displayed on the 2nd floor of the CAC's historic 1901 home. This would ensure continued public access. The remaining artifacts would be safely stored in a climate-controlled space, storage and oversight to be sponsored by Douglas County. The plan included proper artifact protection and stewardship. The ask was also funding would be needed for increased insurance coverage and a one-time upfront payment of $650,000 to cover the cost of museum transition and preservation and integration of history program into the CAC's campus. Option B, as presented by the Cultural Arts Council, included restore former courthouse as a display-ready exhibit space, use the adjacent room for rotating exhibits, and the remaining artifacts would be safely stored in a climate-controlled space. This plan also ensures proper artifact protection and stewardship, and funding would also be needed for increased insurance coverage. However, Option B would require 1 additional staff member for exhibit management at a cost of $30,000 and the one-time upfront payment of $650,000 to cover the cost of museum transition and preservation and integration of history program into the CAC's campus. The Community Services Committee sincerely appreciate both the Old Courthouse, Inc. and the Cultural Arts Council leadership for their thoughtful proposals and willingness to explore solutions. Each proposal reflects a shared commitment to preserving the county's heritage. The committee recognizes the value and importance of the artifacts housed at the old Douglas County Courthouse and the proposed cultural experience presented by the Cultural Arts Council. However, due to the county's current financial considerations and strategic priorities, it was determined that the county is unable to support either initiative at this time. The Community Service Committee has several recommendations. Recommendation number 1 is for the Board of Commissioners to accept the Community Services Committee recommendation and approve agenda item number 5, that the county will exercise its notice option as it pertains to the Old Courthouse, Inc. lease and now provides 90-day notice to be issued on or before February 13, 2026, with the last day of occupancy to be no later than May 15, 2026, and to ensure a respectful and organized transition process. The county, if requested, will assist Old Courthouse, Inc. with publishing a public notice to artifact owners and designate a liaison to provide support to Old Courthouse, Inc. during the transition period. This recommendation was not made lightly. Ultimately, the committee's recommendation reflects our duty to act in the best long-term interest of the county and the community as a whole. Thus, the county recognizes and values the community's passion for preserving our shared history and remains committed to identifying responsible and sustainable paths forward as resources allow. These efforts may include exploring the development of a curated county cultural history experience through internal departments with potential components such as rotating historical displays in public libraries, exhibits within the courthouse third floor atrium, programming and displays at senior centers, and/or rotating exhibits within indoor parks and recreation spaces. Madam Chair and members of the board, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist.
Thank you.
As
Thank
we
you so
can-
much. You have the
Yes,
floor.
yes. As we have just heard, this is the committee recommendation. And to the committee, I just want to say thank you. And this wasn't an easy task, nor was it the most likable. But just clearly understanding what is the path forward is what the goals were in mind. It's not about getting rid of the artifacts. It wasn't about getting rid of the museum. It was what is the best path forward for an experience when it comes to the museum. I'm hoping that all of us take away not a win or a loss, but what makes the most sense in what we do and what we provide for the citizens of Douglas County. There were several things that got us to this resolve: cost, experience, the goal in all is always have been, what can we do best for the citizens of Douglas County? I'm going to stop there and allow the vice chair of the Community Service Committee to have a few words, and then I'll close it, and then we'll hopefully move forward, though. So I'll pass it over to Commissioner Kenner Jones.
I just will echo Commissioner Mitchell's sentiments. First, thank you for presenting on behalf of the committee. You all did do an exceptional job of going through all of the documentation, resources. I want the public to be aware that this was an exhaustive process. I do want to clarify, we did not place anybody on the museum's committee. They chose and selected their steering committee. They put together their own presentation. We were there to listen, obtain the information, much like the CAC's presentation, and then make an informed decision about how to best move forward. At this point in time, unfortunately, the county does not have the resources to run a nonprofit organization, and ultimately that is what was being asked of this committee and what was being asked of the county. We do not do strategic planning for any other nonprofit that partners with the county to do anything, and it is an unfair ask and an unfair burden to request that that be done in this particular instance. And again, we are tasked with the unpopular burden of figuring out how to space plan for county departments that we are responsible for. We have human resources that has to have a location to move to. The finance department has to have a place to move to. Procurement has to have a location to move to, because ultimately all of those departments are going to be required to get out of this building so that we can continue to provide Superior Court, Magistrate Court, State Court, Juvenile Court, and Probate Court in this building. And so I do appreciate the committee for taking that seriously, for having an opportunity to hear from, ask additional questions to make sure that we are making an informed decision. And I do think that the recommendations for the path forward in terms of partnership with our internal departments does make the most fiscal sense, and helps us maintain a culture and history report of this county in a way that is long-term feasible, because we simply can't afford to have relinquished that space any longer. We have to reclaim it. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenner Jones. But let's be clear. The artifacts, the history of Douglas County is important to all of us. All of us. And that's why we had to make it make sense and how to move forward. So I just don't want us to take away that it was a win or a lose, and it's not. Nobody loses here, based off of, even with the artifacts, if I remember correctly, in the presentation. It talked about how do we at least put these artifacts, individuals who may own these artifacts, on notice. Hopefully, we can take all these artifacts and move in the direction of moving forward. It just doesn't mean that the CAC is the direction that we go, but we are working toward a solution. Hear the solution. Embrace the potential future and not take it as a loss. Again, I thank you, and I thank the committee, and Kenneth Jones, I appreciate you and all of us just putting in the work and putting in the effort of how do we take this museum, how do we take these artifacts, how do we move forward, and what's in the best interest. On that note, Madam Chair, I'm going to turn it back over to you in hopes that the recommendation of this committee is adhered to, and if there's any other one of the boards that would like to, the commissioners that would like to add to this conversation, we're more than welcome and open. But outside of that, that's kind of where we are, and I guess we'll move forward in that direction with the notion of how this board feels in the recommendation from the from the Finance Committee, from the Community Service Committee. Thank you, and I yield.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion, board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have the floor, Commissioner, Vice Chair. Sorry.
I get the recommendation of the committee. What I wished would have happened is what come out of this recommendation from the committee, or during this process, that other commissioners would have engaged their fellow commissioners in regards to ideas and conversations, so we could actually have maybe brainstormed and come up with the best idea, because we are all very different up here. But that's what happens when you put a group of people together who all think differently. You don't come up with just one good idea, you come up with a great idea. But two, I wished and I think this is honestly the constituents who have concerns about this, it's how it was presented and brought forth. That's it. It just came forward as, we're going to do this. If we got that study back in 2023 and we was going to consider closing this museum, what I would have loved is if, whenever this was brought forth, whomever's idea it was to close the museum, that we would have started having a conversation at that point. Here's what I'm thinking. And looking at this, what do you guys think? How are we going to go forward? Do we give them an opportunity to set goals and markers to change to meet this Kennesaw study? Is this the process we go forward? Let's get community input before we do this. Let's see what our community and constituents think. We do surveys all the time on our website when we start to prepare for something, when we start setting our 5-year strategic plan. We should have done that with the community as well. What do you think? Because we work for you. So I just wish there would have been a different approach. I still stand with I do not want it to close. I would rather work with them and give them a timeline with markers to see what we can achieve, to see if there can be a way to meet more goals to where it shows more people are visiting the museum and it's bringing in more money, they can be more self-sufficient. I just think we should have set up a different plan. And at that point, I'm going to yield, but I just wish we would have done this differently.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vice Chair. Any other discussion? Board? All right. We're going to move on for the sake of time. Madam Clerk?
Yes. Our business items number 5 is approval of a resolution to terminate the lease and property management agreement between Old Courthouse, Inc. and Douglas County, Georgia, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Didn't know if you wanted any further discussion on that or just move to the next one.
Move on.
Okay. Number 6, approval for Douglas County Sheriff's Office to renew an agreement with Stanco and Associates Justice Consultants, LLC, for consulting services for the Black Creek Jail Security System Replacement, Enhanced Security Electronics, at the rate of $4,100 per month for January 2026 through December 31st, 2026, to be funded by the 2022 SPLOST Fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Lieutenant Colonel Pounds.
Good morning. This is just the renewal of the contract for Stanco for the consulting, help us get our cameras in our doors that they've been working on. We got some of the stuff installed, looking at a possible completion date of by the end of May. So we're making progress on it.
Okay, any questions, Board?
Yes, Madam
For
Chair.
Lieutenant Colonel? Okay, you have the floor.
All right, good morning.
Commissioner
Morning.
Lynch.
So just want to, so is this the last construction effort that Stanco is going to be providing to us with the camera installation? Or I'm just trying to get a holistic view of all of the services that they're performing and providing to us.
You talking about for this particular project?
Correct.
Yes, this should be it for this particular project as far as, because they're doing the servers and everything that comes with it.
Okay, and they're doing like training and some other things. I just want to get a totality list of what are some of the services that they're providing in addition to the installation of the cameras.
Yeah, for the cameras,
In addition to
I guess
the
I'm not
cameras.
understanding what you're asking.
Yeah, in addition to the cameras, what other services or what else is in the scope of the services that they're providing?
Maintenance, yeah, just the maintenance and, yeah, they're doing the training, the teaching us what we need to know about the system or whatever, but that's pretty much it.
Okay, so after this year, will it just be pretty much a maintenance agreement with them after we get all the cameras installed?
Yes.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, I'm just trying to see what's the end of life look like, for Stanco and our agreements there.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Yes, just one.
Number 7.
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got one quick question.
Yes.
So Lieutenant Colonel, so just so I'm clear, so we're replacing the system or the cameras or whatever that is, we're replacing it?
Black Creek.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
And so that I'm clear too, though, we're replacing them, and the maintenance cost, right now, we're only talking about the replacement cost of $41 a month. Or is that all inclusive of maintenance, replacement, I guess training for you guys and all that stuff?
Well, this is just for the renewal of the contract.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's all this is.
Okay.
For Stanco.
Right.
For the consultant.
Oh, this is the consultant side. Okay. I'm thinking of the actual equipment and everything else. This is just, got it. My apologies. I think I'm on it now. Got it.
Okay.
I yield back. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Any other questions, Board? Okay. Commissioner Kenner Jones, you have the floor.
Do you know how many times that we've changed, I guess, the software, the services since 2013?
I think this is the first time.
Okay, and
We had Black Creek when we started at the new building.
okay, and I assume, is the 4100, is that just standard for all of the companies? Is Black Creek the only company? Did you all get bids from anybody else for the service, or?
For the camera services or for the installation? Yes, we had a whole process for that. Yes,
And
ma'am.
these were the best?
Yes.
Okay, that was my only question.
Okay. Any other questions, Board? All right.
Okay. Number 7,
Okay.
approval of 2025 fiscal year equitable sharing agreement and certification for the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, authorizing Sheriff Tim Pounds to sign electronically and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Lieutenant Colonel Pounds.
This is an annual audit that we've all required to perform for the federal government for funds received and funds dispersed as it relates to asset forfeitures. Madam Chair, and the sheriff will sign the paper documents that will be kept on file, but the signatures will have to be or will be submitted electronically. We're seeking authorization for our county manager, Jennifer Ferguson, to submit Madam Chair's signature as we've done in the prior years.
Any questions, Board?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. So just more from an educational standpoint, I know in '24 we were able to receive Treasury funds, but we didn't in '25. And I was just curious, is that something that the federal government says what we or when we can receive funds, and we're dependent on that, just from an educational standpoint?
Yes, they set the regulations on that, yes.
Okay, do we anticipate any, that being the case moving forward, that we would not get federal Treasury funds?
I can't answer that question.
Okay, okay. And then in regards to interest income, I know one year we had interest income in Justice Fund. The next year we had interest income in Treasury Fund. So I was just curious, how do we determine which fund account that we have or we get interest income from?
I will get with Chief Connor and send you an email on that. I'm not sure how that works.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I was just curious because, like I said, one year we got it from one account, the other year we got it from another, so was just curious about that.
Understood.
All right. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Lieutenant Colonel Pounds? Okay, Madam.
Number 8, approval of an agreement
so
with
much, Lieutenant.
with William Trivelpiece to provide project coordination services for the accountability courts at a rate of $45 per hour, not to exceed 28 hours per week, to be funded by grant Q23-8-015, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Teresa Gordy.
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning. This contract will be between the accountability courts and Mr. Trivelpiece, and he will be providing services related to the screening tool grant that we just received a few months ago. He'll be coordinating the project.
Any questions, board?
Okay.
All right.
We'll move to number 9, approval of an agreement with Lauren Crosby to provide case management services for the accountability courts at the rate of $30 per hour, not to exceed 20 hours per week, to be funded by grant Q23-8015, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
This is related to the same grant. Ms. Crosby will be providing case management services, mostly data entry, and also helping screen participants.
Any questions, board?
Just one.
Okay, you have the floor, Vice Chair.
So I know that these are grant funded, but next year, if you do not get that grant, are they understanding that we will not approve those positions probably?
Yes.
Okay.
They fully understand.
I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, number 10, approval of an MOU with Track Solutions to provide GPS tracking and transdermal alcohol sensing watches to the accountability courts, to be funded by grant AWACFP 26154125, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Teresa.
Yes, Track Solutions is the only vendor who provides both the transdermal alcohol sensing watches and the GPS watches. We have a sole source letter from them that I'm working through with procurement, but this will benefit all the accountability courts.
Any questions for?
Yes.
Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Because I saw this, so I called the judges to find out a little bit about this, and I was really surprised at how this works and very impressed that this type of technology is out there. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also my understanding that, because a lot of people would think that, it was one of my questions, well, what if they take off the watch and consume, and then, but there's a risk in that, or there's a punishment for that. If you don't mind explaining some of that for us, please.
That's considered tampering with government property. We've been using a watch that it's much larger, and it's very easily identifiable that it's a tracking device, and all it does is track. But there's where it would clasp here, there's two little hooks that come up through there, and then we secure the clamp on there. And you would have to literally, when I take them off people, I have to use needle nose pliers and pull it off. So it's very hard to get off. I mean, we have had a few that broke in the past, especially if some of our participants worked in construction or something like that. But we've had a really good success rate using these watches, the ones before. And going to this new watch will just reduce the stigma. And it also gives us the opportunity to sense alcohol. And they look very much like an Apple Watch. I mean, it's just a little bit thicker. You'd never know that it was not an Apple Watch.
Yeah. Okay. I go back, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Braxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. And I love the technology as well. Out of curiosity, how many watches are we looking to secure?
Our first deployment will be 23 of the GPS watches and 2 of the alcohol sensing watches. And then as we need more, they will provide them to us.
Okay. And then do we have ideal of what is our maximum amount of the contract that we're going to pay based on the contract? Do we have a line item limit that we're looking at?
The grant award was $26,000, I think, let me see. For the grant for you. The grant award was roughly $26,000, and that's what this MOU is for.
Okay.
Now, in the past, we used some of our other funding to pay for these tracking devices. So if it's successful when this grant ends, we may, look at doing that as well. We're hoping the technology really does what we need it to do, because especially people that are struggling with alcohol abuse, the previous devices that we used just didn't do a really good job. So we're really hoping that this one does what we need it to do.
Okay. All right, well, that's great. Yeah, I was curious to see what the line item of the amount is, and I would love to maybe within 6 months just to see how we're tracking against that 26,000.
Okay.
Just to see if we're going to be running hot, do we need to look at securing additional funding and what that could potentially look like for the rest of the fiscal year?
Okay. When we wrote this grant, I talked to juvenile court, felony drug court, and of course state court, and we looked at, on average how many devices we have on participants, and did the math on that, and that's how we come to the $26,000 mark. So I expect us to be fine, but you never know.
Right. All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Just
Commissioner Mitchell?
Just one.
Oh, yes, sir.
So back to the 26. So the 26, that's what you guys kind of gauging yourself to see if you meet the mark. But hopefully you don't need more than you anticipate based off of what you've been dealing with in the last year, 2 years.
Yeah, roughly the last 2 to 3 years.
Got it. And is this the replacement of the ankle bracelets? Or am I incorrect in my thought in that?
The state DUI court, we have not used ankle bracelets in a long time. We've been using that other watch. It was a Talatrex watch.
Okay.
And it's a very large device, and it has to be charged. It served its purpose, but we feel like this technology is going to better serve us. I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
That's okay, that's okay. And so now let's go into the charging side of this and the maintenance side of this. The individuals who happen to have to wear this watch.
Yes, a charge lasts 48 hours.
And then there's a charge that needs to
Yes.
happen. And
Yes.
does it come off, or do they just kind of plug it in and hold their wrist up to the?
They'll have to plug it in.
Okay,
Yeah.
plug it in and charge it while on their wrists.
Correct. Which is similar to ankle bracelet technology too. Yeah.
So that's why I thought automatically that this was a replacement of that, with technology have grown. And now here we are.
Yeah, with a lot less stigma.
Right.
I mean, because, like I said, unless you know that it's a tracking device, you wouldn't know. It looks that much like an Apple Watch.
Got it. Okay, all right. And if you happen to get to that 26 mark, I'm assuming you will stop and go back to the ankle bracelet, or you'll just say, okay, let's apply for some more grant dollars, or kind of, how do you, I'm trying to be proactive in that, so.
We would apply for more grant dollars. Each of our courts have money in our budget for tracking devices, so we'll use these grant funds first, of course, and then we would look at our individual budgets and see where we were. This device is roughly the same price that we were paying for other tracking devices. It's not that much more expensive.
Got it, okay. I just don't, we're working off of a grant, and I would hate for us to, find ourselves in a unique situation, because we had a lot more situations that we encountered that required more, and now you're at 29. I'm just making it up, so.
Yeah, the accountability courts work mainly off of grants. So, we have our general operating budgets, but all the programs have grants that we really have to watch very closely and make sure we're spending as we should, so.
So you'll be watching that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
okay,
we will.
thank you. All right, thank you. I yield back, Madam Chair. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell, and thank you so much, Ms. Gordy. Madam Clerk?
Okay. Number 11 is approval of an employment contract with Asia Took as an assistant public defender for state court to fill a vacant position already approved in the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Monica Miles.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is a request to be able to execute employment agreements with attorney Asia Took, and then the next line item, Wayne Bassford, to fill vacant positions that we have to work in our state court.
Any questions, board? Okay, no questions.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You'll have a good day.
We'll move to item number 13, approval to submit a traffic signal RF RRFB application in connection with Highway 5 and Bill Art North at Banks Mill Road and Pool Road roundabout project with no impact to the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Solomon Rana.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Board
morning.
of Commissioners, and County Administration. Highway 5 at Banks Mill is a roundabout project currently being funded and delivered by the state. Part of the process or part of the design is realignment of several roadways, with Pool Road and Banks Mill Road coming towards Highway 5 and creating a roundabout, and Dorset Shoals being realigned to divert away from the roundabout. The layout was attached with the agenda item. The pedestrian crossing across the roundabout will be facilitated by a pedestrian safety control measure called RRFB, Rectangular Rapid Flashing Beacon, which is an on-demand warning for cars approaching the intersection. While this is state-funded, GDOT requires the local jurisdiction to submit this application to support that device's installation, and that's what we're recommending your approval on. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for our managing director? No questions.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Number 14, approval of a subrecipient agreement with Elevate Douglas Economic Partnership in the amount of $500,000 for the implementation of a business incubator to be funded through the fiscal year 23 U.S. Small Business Administration Congressional Earmark Initiative, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Jill Hobson.
Hi, good morning. We have, over the past couple of months, we've had a couple of agenda items extending this grant award and doing an amendment for Elevate Douglas to be our subrecipient. Today is about executing that contract with Elevate Douglas. The draft should be in your packet. We are still pending legal review. I have them here. Brucey Stratton is here to answer any programmatic questions you may have.
Okay.
We're ready to kick off project activities.
Okay. Any questions, board? Okay. Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, just wanted to clarify where we're specifically under project goal number 1. And I've seen where one time it was, it said plant infrastructure and incubator establishment. And then I've also seen purchase of real estate or designing, implementing vendor vetting and workforce training. So I just want to get clarification for project goal number 1, which one it is.
It will not be the acquisition of property.
Okay, so it will be the
Yep.
creating the incubator, small business development ecosystem.
Correct.
Okay, great. Okay, and like I said, I just saw it was different languages, so I just wanted to clarify which one it was for that specific project goal.
Yes.
Okay, great. And that's for 150K, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, thank you for the clarification. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Raxton. All right. Madam Clerk?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Number
Manager
15,
Hobson.
approval of an agreement with Georgia Power for parking lot lighting at the Fairburn Road Senior Center in the amount of $15,500 to be funded by the 2022 SPLOST Fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Julia Janka.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, County Administration. This is simply, this is for the Fairburn Road New Senior Center project, and all we're doing is putting in 2 light poles, courtesy of Georgia Power, at a tune of $15,000 plus for the new facility.
Okay. Any questions for Director Janka? No questions? Okay. Madam.
Number 16 is approval of a change order with Caliber One Construction in the amount of $10,000 to be funded by SPLOST 2022 Fund for drainage mediation between New Fairburn Senior Center and the existing building, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Julia?
Again, this is for the same project. Basically, there's 2 different elevations for the building, so we're having to add some additional drainage to be able to compensate between the 2 buildings. It's going to be a controlled access. That's where all our utilities and our boxes are stored, all the mechanicals.
Okay. Any questions, board?
Yes,
For our
ma'am.
director? Okay, Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Are we hoping that this is going to be the last change order in additional money
No,
for
we will
this?
have one more.
One more.
We hope. There's a lot of stuff that we're finding as we're going through the project that we weren't able to anticipate, some differences in some of the mechanicals that we need, some additional equipment that we identified. Just, because we're trying to balance the two buildings, there's going to also be another change order for the old building, just because we're working together to make sure that as we migrate from one facility to the next facility, we take care of everything.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is, there has been quite a few change orders on this project, and
Yes,
the
sir.
costs continue to go up. So I was just I was hoping that this would be the absolute last one. All right, I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Vice Chair. Any other questions for our Director?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 17, acceptance of payment from the Douglas County School System Legacy Center for the ticket sale split from the Legacy on Ice event in the amount of $10,390. Amend the budget and authorize for the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chad Griffin.
Good morning, Chairman, Board of Commissioners, and County Administration. Back in December, we held Legacy on Ice at Legacy Arena, and in that partnership, we split ticket sales 50-50. We saw close to 6,000 people come through to ice skate, and we received a check for $10,390 from Legacy Arena.
Okay. Any questions for our Director Griffin?
Nope, we like it when you bring checks.
No questions. Okay. What, you have one?
Okay. Number 8.
Just,
Okay.
thumbs up. Good job. Yeah.
Thank you.
Number 18 is approval of an agreement for improvements to the Bill Arp Park Sports Complex with Musco Sports Lighting Companies under their Sourcewell contract for the design and installation of a new lighting system in the amount of $278,500, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chad?
Thank you. This is for the Bell Arp football field. This was to replace the wooden light poles that are currently there. It is a state contract under Sourcewell with Musco Lighting in the amount of $278,500, and it'll be paid through the 2022 SPLOST funds.
Okay. Any questions, Board?
Okay. Number 19 is approval of an agreement for improvements to the Bill Arp Park Sports Complex with BSN Sports under their Omnia contract for the design and installation of new bleachers in the amount of $35,273.75, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chad?
Thank you. This is for 14 sets of new bleachers for the Bell Arp baseball field and the Bell Arp football field. It will be purchasing through the BSN Omnia state contract in the amount of $35,273.75, and it'll be funded through the 2022 SPLOST funds.
Okay. Any questions, Board, for our Director? Okay.
Okay. Number 20, approval of an agreement for improvements to the Bill Arp Park Sports Complex with Nevco Scoring Solutions under their Sourcewell contract for installation of 4 new scoreboards in the amount of $78,576.04, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chad?
Thank you. This is also for Bell Arp Park. These scoreboards will go on the baseball fields. They'll be newer. They will use solar power to make these functions. So that's a new function that they have. These scoreboards will be funded through the 2022 SPLOST funds in the amount of $78,576.04.
Any questions, Board? All right. Commissioner Kenner Jones, you have the floor.
I just want to say thank you to you and the Community Services Committee and everybody who went and evaluated this. From a mom who's at this park every couple of weekends for baseball games and tournaments, it absolutely needed some TLC, so I'm glad you all prioritized this. And I just want to say thank you to from every parent that uses that park, because those bleachers and the non-functioning scoreboards were long past overdue. So this was perfect, right on time. Thank you. Madam Chair, I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much. Commissioner Kenner Jones, Vice Chair, you have the floor.
I too just same sentiments. Thank you for doing that. That baseball park and also that football field need a little bit of love.
They do.
It's been a while since anything's really happened at that park, and even though a few years back we did do some work there, but those baseball fields were in dire need of some little bit of pick-me-up. So again, thank your department for doing this, and I'm sure District 3 Commissioner is going to appreciate that as well. Now you'll back.
Okay, Commissioner Mitchell.
Yeah, I was just going to add that, Chad and Dr. Gilchrist and that team just really, as Commissioner Kenner Jones stated, job well done, prioritizing it, making sure the monies and funds were all there, and getting this done and getting it to the full board to vote to move forward. Job well done. And I always got to just say, Chad does an excellent job at, keeping Parks and Rec and creating a great quality of life for the citizens of Douglas County. So keep up the great work, and job well done. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much,
yield back.
Commissioner Mitchell. Thank you. Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
So I just want to take a point of thanking the staff, Managing Director Gilchrist, Director Griffin, for hearing my heart. I certainly appreciate you taking the time, going out, us walking, spending time there, really looking at what we could do to enhance Billard Park for our residents. So I'm very excited to get this moving. I know this is the first of other things that we've discussed, so I'm very excited that we're here today, and I thank my fellow commissioners for supporting this initiative. With that, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Commissioner Raxton. Any other remarks, board? Madam Clerk?
Keep Chad.
Okay. Number 21, approval of an agreement with Innovative Fitness in the amount of $70,160.80 to be partially funded by the Cobb Douglas Public Health CHIP grant for $15,000, and the remaining balance to be funded by the Parks and Recreation budget in the amount of $55,160.80 for the purchase and installation of fitness equipment for the Deer Lick Wellness Within project, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chad.
Thank you. We received a grant from Cobb and Public Health a few months ago in the amount of $15,000. This will go towards the renovating room 110 at Deer Lick Park and turn it into a fitness center for our patrons. And the rest of the equipment from Innovative Fitness, which is a state contract price, comes out to $55,160.80, and it'll be funded through the Parks and Rec budget.
Any questions, board? Okay, no questions. Thank you so much, Director Griffin. Thank you.
Okay. Number 22 is approval to renew the landscaping agreement with Alternative Environments in the amount of $7,664.04 for landscaping services at the E911 building to be funded from the department's budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Katrina Harley.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Board of Commissioners, County Administration. This is just the annual landscaping agreement for the E911 building.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you, and good morning.
Good morning.
So just a quick question. First question I had, have we done any work with Southern Landscape Property Management? Has that been one of the vendors we've worked with in the past?
We did obtain the 3 necessary quotes for your package.
Right.
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. Yep.
Not since I've been here.
Okay. So the reason I was asking that, because when I was looking at what was inside the contracts, that particular vendor offered 36 visits, like 1 visit per month, versus the one for alternate environment, which was 30 visits. And the difference was only $135. So I guess I was just wondering, just again, we're comparing to say if we get 36 visits for $135 more. And I just wanted to, again, just ask, had there been any issues before with this vendor to say, no, we were going to exclude them? And that's why I asked that question.
Oh.
So again, just asking, for 6 more visits for $136, would there be any opportunity there that we should just give some thought to?
Well, we didn't necessarily need any additional visits. Alternative Environments has been the vendor for quite some time, and they are very familiar with the property.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, again, I was just thinking, 6, or once a month versus from May to October, but if you're comfortable with the services with the current vendor, then I'm fine with it. But just wanted to explore that a little bit more further.
Okay.
All right. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Raxton.
Thank
Any
you.
other question? Thank you so much, Director Hardy. Thank you.
Okay, number 23 is approval of a contract with Kavanaugh McDonald Consulting LLC for the GASB 75 OPEB annual valuation in the amount of $8,000 to be funded through the general appropriation, existing budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Ms. Johnson.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Board of Commissioners, County Administration. So this is the request for an approval of a contract with Kavanaugh McDonald Consulting for the county's GASB 95 OPEB annual evaluation. So we need this done as a part of what's required from GASB and for the audit as well. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Deputy Director Johnson? Okay. No questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 24, approval of a consulting services contract with Malden & Jenkins to conduct an internal controls audit for fiscal years 2023, 2024, and 2025, aimed at improving operational management within the specified areas pursuant to RFP 25-030 in the amount not to exceed $78,000 to be funded by the General Appropriation Fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Anthony Choice.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair,
morning.
Board of Commissioners, County Administration, County Attorney. In 2025, September of 2025, this board enacted a resolution to compile a compliance audit, and Madam Chair did send a directive to procurement. We issued a solicitation. We had 840 potential vendors. 64 of those vendors actually downloaded partial or all the documents, and out of those 64, we had 9 participants to submit bids to us. The evaluation committee was convened. They went through the evaluations, went through the process of evaluating each solicitation, and out of those 9 solicitations, they came back with Malden & Jenkins as the awarded vendor, as the vendor to be brought forward to the board, to ask for the award of, and today we are bringing that before you all to ask you all to award the contract to Malden & Jenkins for the internal compliance audit, which will comprise the P cards, credit cards, local store accounts that we have with Home Depot, Lowe's, and Ace Hardware, several other internals, and so that we have. And so I am asking you to approve that, and pending final legal review, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Director Choice. Any questions, Board, for our Procurement Director? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. 25, approval of the updated procurement policy and authorization for the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Anthony Choice.
Thank you. Again, this is the updated version of a 2025 or 2026 procurement policy. Procurement has been, I guess, voluntold to have several activities throughout the county. I'm trying to think of the right words. Under its umbrella, cell phones, procurement cards, vendor management, things of that nature. We found that there are several policies everywhere, and all we did was took all of those policies and compiled them into one policy so that we will have one policy to operate off of, and the end users would be able to look at that policy. We also added some strengthening activity to several areas in those policies. We also have a couple of areas in there that we asked you all to take consideration of removing, which would be the only one is petty cash. There is an executive summary that was submitted to each of you along with the initial policy itself. And so if you don't mind, I'll just go through a brief portion of that. The key updates within the procurement policy is vendor management and relations within the policy. Although this function has been long managed by procurement, it had not been previously governed by a formal policy. And so its inclusion establishes standardization practices and ensures consistent vendor engagement across departments. The next was the procurement threshold was another area that we went into and we revised. The procurement thresholds was Essentially, with purchase cards, it was $1,500 threshold, and with requisitions, it was $1,000. What we did was brought the purchase cards down to $1,000 for a sense of consistency around the board. So this adjustment allows with the P card and the requisitions themselves, so that departments are not questioning where do we need one quote from. The next area, special procurement procedures. In that section, we had a lot of end users who would use the term sole source. And so sole source is kind of a widely used term that you actually, in 2026, and I'll say it how I'm thinking, it's rare that you find something that is sole source. And so there is a procurement language entitled single source. Single source was added into the policy so that we can assist the end users in best practices as well. And so we do have a form that we require the end users to be able to complete that form, to have the procurement director's authorization as well as county administration in order to enact the single source section of it. The other portion is the elimination of petty cash with the inclusion of P cards. There may be some extenuating circumstances, and we are open to that. However, there are areas that we're unsure whether or not they need petty cash. There is no kind of, if I can use this term, no kind of oversight with cash. How do you determine where the cash is? And so there are some areas that will require that, and we have asked that you all will take that in consideration as well, and we have made provisions and we'll be able to communicate with finance concerning areas of being able to operate within that. The next section, again, is the purchase requisitions and the order process. In there, we have found that we have a lot of vendors and as well as a lot of end users who actually have services that require on-site usage, and we require that any service that is performed on-site there is a requirement of a certificate of insurance. And so that certificate of insurance can be costly. We're asking you to consider a waiver, liability form for those purchases under $1,000, those services under $1,000, which will, of course, have legal to review as well as approve that as well. The purchase card policy was further defined with acceptable meals purchases. We found that that was an area there that had a little gray area to it. So we added some language in there that would have acceptable meals that we're asking you to review as well. And the cell phone policy and travel policy. Travel has been brought over to procurement, and so we're grateful to have it, as well as the cell phone policy. And so cell phones. And so we wanted to make sure that we had a policy that would drive both of those, that will help the end users to be able to process their travel, as well as the county to be able to define, we know how many cell phones we have. However, what is the policy of when an employee leaves versus those cell phones? What happens to those phones? And so there's nothing there, and we wanted to add some type of feature to that. So overall, these updates will basically modernize what we feel is the procurement policy itself, and it'll strengthen internal controls as well as align with procedures within our current procurement practices, and it supports our basis, which is transparency, consistency, effectiveness, and organizational resources. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for? Okay, Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
Yes, well, great job. And just want to make sure that all of us know that the Finance Committee had an opportunity to kind of review this and scrutinize it and tear it apart, add to it, take away from it. And the Vice Chair will probably add to this from the Finance Committee that it's really well structured. Speaking to the petty cash, if you'll just touch bases on that. I know we talked about removing that, but also there's room. Yes. Okay, so if you'll speak to that, so we're not taking it away, but we just kind of controlling it so just explain that if you would, please.
Yes, sir. The petty cash portion of it is that no, it's not being taken away. However, we're asking for the justification of why would you need petty cash. We have several departments that will need petty cash, and so all we're doing is asking for the justification of it. And those departments that do not need it, then we're asking if you do not have a P card, then you look at getting a P card. So we do know that there are exceptions to any parts of this policy, and we are open to be able to discuss those with the departments and the department's heads, along with county administration. And so we're trying to put in caveats to where county administration has more oversight into some of these areas that are being utilized like petty cash.
Yeah, and to add to that, that's kind of how we was kind of leaning toward, to kind of put the onuses on our county administrator so he can at least have teeth in it to move and how to move, and that it all makes sense.
Yes,
so, but no, job well done. And I mean, the structure, even the conversation that we all had trying to get here. I just wasn't willing to read the 60-page binder.
94.
But I was more than willing to make the adjustments to get there. So, but thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
And I don't know if the Vice Chair of Finance would like to add to that conversation that we had. So,
Thank you, sir.
yes, go right ahead. Yes,
I'll
go
wait for
ahead.
Madam Chair to.
I can kind of
Okay.
go right ahead. Yeah.
All right. All right, well, thank you again to the Chair of the Finance Committee. Certainly enjoyed the conversation and review of the policy. I did get a chance to review it, so you'll be happy. I go through it. I guess the question in regards to the petty cash section, I know we're talking about deleting it, but do we want to just put some statements in there just so that section shows that it is up to the discretion of county administration, et cetera, and as compared to just taking it out all completely?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can do that.
Okay, well, that's great. So thank you, and we'll review that. And then I guess the only other comment I had, where it had reference to county manager, I was just going to say we can update that to say county administrator, because that's what we currently have under the county administration government.
That'll work.
Of
Yes,
Douglas
sir.
County. But other than that, job well done. Greatly appreciate the team's effort, and I definitely appreciate reviewing it over a snowy weekend.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right, with that, I'll yield it back over to the Finance Committee Chair.
And just so we're clear, if you would just reinstate that we removed but didn't remove the petty cash.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We will not remove the petty cash.
Right.
However, what we will do is add some caveat language in there that allows the discretion to be at the county administration.
Right. The discretion will lie with him.
Yes, sir.
So the onus will be on our county administrator and what we're basically doing here, basically.
Yes, sir.
So just want to make sure, though, because I don't think this will ever be evolving.
Yes,
When we land where we land, it will still evolve.
That's true.
Because
That is
things
so
will
true.
come about, and because we had these many conversations from receipts to
Yes.
itemized receipts and
Yes.
so on. So, but no, great job, though, Anthony. I got to say, great job well done. And I think this is a great, starting point. And let's move forward. And I'm glad we've got it here before the full board to act on it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you again. And I yield back, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Next, Madam.
Okay. Number 26.
Right.
Thank you so much, Director Joyce.
Number 26, approval of a contract with CoStar in the amount of $18,449.40 for an annual subscription for commercial and industrial development data to be funded through the Board of Assessors budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Steve Balfour.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good
Morning, Commissioners. Administration. This is actually a renewal, and just to update an agreement with CoStar, we want to get in line with the improvements that Commissioner Director Choice is implementing. So we have had a contract renewal with CoStar since 2009, and we want to update the contract with the current board signature, etc. So this is our annual contract renewal for CoStar. CoStar is our commercial real estate data portal that we use for our valuation. It's a sole source, and it's equivalent to like FMLS and Georgia MLS for residential, but it's a commercial industrial. And I'm here for any questions.
Thank you so much. Okay, Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor. Thank you.
So I get this, I just want to make sure that I'm clear. So this is an annual subscription cost for these guys at $18,449.
That is correct.
Is that the same price? Because I think we only just changing it based on procurement coming up with these new regulations. What was it before, or are there any changes?
It typically, it's for three accounts. We currently have 3 accounts, and there was a 4.3% increase over last year.
Got it. So these guys have increased by 4-point-something percentage.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So there's an increase. How is that affecting your budget, though? What kind of impact on your budget is it going to have?
My budget is, it caters to increases within 5%.
So you can absorb that?
Yes.
Okay. How long? I mean, is it next year going to be another 4.5?
I look at my budget each year, and I try to, and so far, I've always stayed within budget.
Great. And is there normally a 4-point-something increase every year?
It's the price index. It's a CPI increase that they have in their agreement.
Is there any way that we could look at potentially locking in for, I don't know what we do for MLS and First MLS, Georgia MLS and First MLS? Is there any lock-in, say, okay, we can lock in for 3 years, 5 years?
And I will definitely look at that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because procurement is kind of trying to get ahead of us, trying to and even Commissioner Raxton mentioned these types of, how do we kind of huddle in these guys and bring them all in to try and look at a cost savings? If it means that this board needs to look at a long-term agreement, then let's take a look at that, because if it's going to be a saving of 4 or 5 or 10%, then why not? But
totally in agreement.
Yeah, so but if you could, just make sure we can look into that and make sure that if there is a potential, then let's see, can we jump on it before we, as opposed to a 4.35% increase every year or annually, so.
Correct. Yeah, myself and Director Choice spoke about that. We're going to look into it.
Okay, well, stay on him though, because, I'm a little nervous. No, just kidding. Okay, I yield back, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Madam Clerk? Thank you so
Yes,
much,
ma'am.
Tax Assessor.
Our last item is number 27, and it is appointments to the Douglas County Travel and Tourism Board. The board has 3 appointments to make. I believe you received an email from Sherry Mathis last week stating who those individuals are, so we'll just need a motion to appoint tomorrow.
Okay, that's for tomorrow? Okay, did she give us those names? You have those names, or we're just?
I do have the names. I'll look
But
for
maybe,
that. Just a second.
oh, we'll just wait. Are you trying to get mine too?
I can give them to you if you need them.
I'll wait.
Okay.
Okay.
Ty Cochran, which we just appointed in January, but, I'm sorry.
Now, did you want us to wait?
Oh, we can.
Oh, okay, I could, okay, go on. Keep going.
Okay, Ty Cochran, he was appointed in January to fill an unexpired term, but those terms are up in February, so we'll just need to reappoint. The other 2 individuals are Charmaine DePass and Marjorie Stansel.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll just add them to the list.
Okay.
Okay, to the agenda for tomorrow. And Charmaine can you just talk about those, the districts and who?
I'm not sure the districts, but those bylaws had changed. They're not appointed by district any longer.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. All right. Any other comments, Board of Commissioners? I do just have one for tomorrow. Well, let me just, if I could go first. If we could just tab number 5, if you could just make that a separate item, and everything else seems like the board was, we were all in lockstep. Certainly want to make sure we have an opportunity to speak. Or any other comments, Board?
That's what I was going to do.
Okay. Anything else? We can certainly, I will tap on the shoulders of our amazing county attorney. Do we have a motion? Or do we need to go, first of all, into executive session? Thought you were going to give us a gift.
I wish I could. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Oh, that's okay. Citizens of Douglas County, the Board of Commissioners will be taking a pause, a slight pause for the calls to go into executive session. We appreciate your patience. With that being said, do we have a motion to go into executive session? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand for executive session. Executive session. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. And we will leave this room momentarily, and we will return.